So good evening, everyone. Welcome to this first session on Path to AWS Community Builder. I'm really excited to have all of you and looking forward to see how I can help you all in this journey, right? So here are my slides and starts with the motivation for this session and for today. The best way to learn is to teach, and the best way to grow is to help others grow. That's exactly the AWS Community Builder really centers around the last portion, which is the best way to grow is to help others grow, right? And as we'll see with the presentation I'll be having today, that is what the AWS Community Builder focuses on. So this is where we are today, and I decided to launch this initiative to just kind of like give back to the community after reaching the milestone of 5 years as an AWS community builder. And I thought, what could I do that is different? And there's nothing as fun than to help others really see that they can also be part of this community. One thing I noticed, there are lots of people who already have experience, but they don't just know how to go around this. It always looks like it's obvious, but it's just quite interesting to see that many people struggle. So that's the background behind WirfonCloud Path to AWS Community Builder. Thank you for the thumbs up, Gloria. So for agenda, a welcome, which we have been doing. I'll do a brief talk on WirfonCloud, a slide. Required accounts, that was the task I had for everyone for week 1. Advantages of being an AWS community builder, I'll talk about that. Who is an AWS community builder really? So when you want to be an AWS community builder, so maybe you have done some research, but I'll try to answer that as well. The application process and what you need. Part 2 will be finding your niche and passion, how to build content that succeeds, content that will help you be able to be admitted to the program. Then the different content creation platforms, content ideas and examples. You should measure impact and engagement. And then I would like to take your questions and answers, right? So that's kind of background of what we have. Not much there, but before I go ahead, who definitely, most of you, some of you are completely new. You may be wondering, yeah, what do I have to be able to be talking to you in this regard? So about me, I'm the founder and lead instructor at WirfonCloud. We'll talk about WirfonCloud. I'm AWS authorized instructor, got the badge last year, just got 1 year last Thursday. So I'm an AWS authorized instructor, and as I mentioned earlier, 5 years as AWS community builder has been great experience. I actually stopped working as a cloud architect at Kyndryl last year, October, because I have found so much passion just in training, and I wanted to focus more on this. So I do private trainings, then work freelance as an authorized instructor. I worked in IBM before as an assigned client engineer. Worked as incident management engineer, focused on Linux at Verizon. Verizon here in Germany. In the US, I think it's known more for mobile communications, but in Germany, they were offering a lot of IT services. I've been 2 times in Las Vegas for the AWS reInvent under the All Builders grant. The first time as an attendee, then the second time as an Illumina advisor. I noticed some of you got the grant and you are here, I think, like Violet, congratulations again. So along the line, if you need any advice, just reach out to me one-on-one. We'll talk about that. So that's it about me. Yes, WirfonCloud, I just did realize that IT is not as complex when I talk to people as it is. And I realized I had so many friends who were very smart, but just because of fear, they were not willing to step into IT. And I also attended an AWS event, the summit in 2018, and was just so discouraged, realizing that this is a free event, but most people from my background don't even show up or don't even participate, and I know it's just because of lack of knowledge. So I thought, okay, create something that you can kind of spread this information. It started as a simple community, but now as a company. And the basic mission is demystifying cloud computing and making it accessible to all. That's just simple as it is. So we start from fundamentals, Linux, networking, Python, then to the AWS architecting course and doing some real projects. We focus on community mentorship and outcome focus as well. So certifications are very important, but hands-on is more crucial, and then because they get you for job readiness. So in our trainings, we emphasize a lot on hands-on, but you need the certifications in order to be attractive. So that's what we do at WirfonCloud. But WirfonCloud is not the talk of today. We're focusing on this part, so let me just dive into it. On week 1, I had all of you on the Discord channel. I already provided some tasks that you had to complete. So just give me a thumbs up if you have completed, if you have all of them. So if you have an AWS account, I believe everyone should have. AWS Builder ID, nice. I see 3, 4 people have thumbs up here. I'm sure the others, you are still working on this. If you haven't, Emmanuel have that as well. So that's great. I think everyone, yeah. So everyone should have this. That's the AWS account is your playground. You need that for building. The AWS Builder ID is an account that has become very important in the AWS community setting now. Most of the things you do will require this ID. So if you create one, make sure you really keep it well. It's well secured. You need that ID, as most of you did notice when you are joining the waiting list. And I said you either use medium.com as your account. If you don't, any other platform that you are using for articles, that's absolutely fine. LinkedIn is important. Share your LinkedIn so that everyone follows you, get to know you. If you are joining community builder, again, you have to be part of a community. You cannot be isolated, right? So you need to create connections. The YouTube channel is optional, but highly recommended. If you realize that as time goes on in tech, you need to be bold enough to talk during events, be bold enough to explain things, and the best time to start is now, right? So even if you are shy, create your YouTube channel, start doing some basic things, and you'll see that you'll be progressing as time goes on. But if you keep postponing it, that's how you're also postponing how long you will take to do that. So if you don't have a YouTube channel now, create one. Create your content. You may make it private, even if you or just make it internal for yourself. And if you are worried, share it to someone who can maybe make some comments and then you update it. But creating content and video content is something that anyone in cloud or in tech should be pushing themselves to be able to do, right? So thank you all for your thumbs up for those who have completed. So let's dive into who is an AWS community builder. So basically, an AWS community builder is simply someone who creates content for the community. Simple as that. You create content for the community. There's no other definition that will be different or better than this, right? You have to create content. So if you are joining the program, you need to know that this is what you will be doing. So content should help others. Your content should help others. It should solve a problem or see practical demos, right? It's not about perfection, because that's the other thing. People want to be perfect. It's about impact, clarity, and usefulness of what you are sharing, right? So those are just the simple thing. Your content should help others learn, it should solve a problem, or you want to just do a practical demo. Some people overthink what this means. If, for example, I'm sure most of you here have some experience already with AWS, if you just set an EC2 instance, show how to create a key pair, and then show how to go to your Linux system and sign in and connect to that EC2 instance, and you describe that step by step, that's a practical demo. It may be looking so obvious for you, but remember when you heard AWS before and you just did not know what that process means, right? So your content, just that content you have shared, is going to help someone completely new to cloud, and especially if it is very clear with screenshots, and if you can do also but a video demo and tie to that, it's absolutely perfect, right? So you don't need to overthink here. So it should help others, it should solve a problem, it should be practical. Don't think about it's perfect in production, right? Clarity is there. So when you're thinking about an AWS community builder, think, share, create content, share it, help others. Some people think maybe you need to have been having some decades of experience working in a particular field. You need to be an expert in a topic. No, right? All of that doesn't matter, right? So this is what you should just focus on, being an AWS, if you're thinking of being an AWS community builder, okay? Right, so the next thing is, what are the advantages? I mean, the advantages, what I've listed here is just the introduction, but in terms of advantages, the key one here is reach, visibility inside AWS ecosystem and global community, which is very important in the field of tech, right? Credibility, recognition that helps your career and personal brand. We live in a world of where personal branding is very important. I don't know how much many of you understand that, but you need to think about, I say, as you're building your, for those who are building their career, you need to be building your brand. Someone should always look in your profile, and LinkedIn, for example, that's the only place, if you are in tech, that I know that is good for professionals. Someone should look at you and just recognize something that is unique about you and something you have to offer. You should be known for something. And the only way you can do that is by branding yourself, which is a continuous process, right? So if you are creating content, you're going to be recognized. And when people are recognized, people have just had jobs just because someone has been observing them on LinkedIn and realized that they have something offering which they need. Resources. The good thing about community builder is have early access to some events, learning, and sometimes swag or discounts. When we say swag or discounts, we say I'm wearing an AWS community builder t-shirt here. I got it from re:Invent last year. This is a cap I got during my first year as a community builder. I have lots of backpacks that come, very good ones. So when it comes to swag and resources, that's good. There's a lot. Discounts comes in the form of examination vouchers. So every year, once you renew as an AWS community builder, you choose to get a voucher either for an associate exam or for a professional exam. You just have to fill a form and you get one voucher. You can only have one, right? Rather than if you are paying for a specialty exam, it costs about $300. Or if you've had the full price, $300, but of course, if you have passed one exam, it's half the price is $150. So yeah, that's how much you save. You always get 500 credits, $500 credits that you can use on your AWS account for building for doing any test that you want, right? And then you get 50% discount, like for the AWS re:Invent ticket, you get 50% discount. So that's already about 1,000 and something dollars. So if the fee for the AWS rent, which is very high, 2,000, it's about 2,100, 2,200. It fluctuates, but it's always around that amount. You get 50% discount, right? And then you get access to information about things that are coming up far ahead of others. So putting you always to be in a better position. But what really matters is the network that you also get, the kind of network that you get into. So, okay, my pen. So the network that you get into, which offers you mentorship, right? So you get mentorship through the network you get to, guest opportunities, collaboration, and connect with 3,000 builders worldwide. The amount of people that you get to know, I've known I see some of you are from Ghana. I was mentioning because I just remember another Emmanuel, who is also an AWS authorized instructor. It's through knowing him that I was able to also get the connection to the company that helped, that sponsored my AWS authorized AWS authorized instructor path, because you always need someone. And I had been looking for that even right here in Europe. I couldn't. But I met Emmanuel during the first time of reInvent Las Vegas, and he gave me that. So you get connections that can just lead you to what you've been looking for, right? So networking for me is the most important thing that I have in the AWS community builder setting. I've known people who have given suggestions on how I can go around with WirfonCloud. People in AWS, you have direct access to them. And most of them, because it's an AWS community, they are always eager to help everyone succeed. I mean, I don't know any other field apart from the tech field where people are always there to help you succeed. And then you have to also do the same for others, right? So networking, apart from all the advantages, networking to me is the one that stands out, because the kind of people you get to know, the kind of people you connect with, can be very life-changing. Career growth, enhanced credibility leads to speaking opportunities and, of course, job offers. As I said, for those who are interested to speaking opportunities, you start getting invited to talk to AWS community builder events, and then later on, you may find yourself, why not talking into an AWS event, not just at the community side of it, but presenting about something in AWS. That is something that can happen. It's something also that I look forward to do someday. But these are the advantages. And as I say, this is just the tip of the iceberg in my view, because when you get into the program, apart from the normal, there are lots of sessions that always go on. And according to your timeline, if you can attend all of them, the better. Now, so with all those advantages, I hope that excites you, and you should be wondering now, how is the application process? What do you really need? I think that's the key thing for everyone. So we have talked about content. Who is an AWS community builder? You are creating content to share and to help others. You always need 2 pieces of quality content published, I say, in the last 3 months. So if you are planning to register in January, normally I know Jason, who runs this program, or really, you don't expect to publish an article in December and think that it will just be like you are just creating this article so as to get into the community. It should be a continuous process. So we're at a good time here in September. If you can create an article this month and create another one in October. But my target is, if you can create 4 articles at least, maybe 2 articles in September, 2 in October, and if you can even record a video, you're in a very much more better position, right? So that's what we will all focus to do. How can we create an article? It's not about quantity, quality, right? What you have created. If you create 4, that's great. We will then look at the best 2 that you may have, and you can then use it for your application. So the first thing is content. Application form will detail response about your content strategy and community impact. So that's where you create content, and if you're also able to show how that content has impacted uh, the AWS community. So, and this where us being in the community here also become helpful. Like when you publish your article, it then becomes important, and each and every you share it to us in the community, people can then read that article. If it's something they have understood and it's clear, they can like that article and maybe give some qualitative feedback. I'll come to that. But being impact is important. So you have to provide links to publish content. It can be articles, videos, or maybe Git repositories. Focus on quality over content. Consistency and trajectory. So regular posting and improvement. It's not that you are going to post and then that's it. You have to be consistent. Impact metrics and testimonials. So views, likes, shares, people help. If you have an article and people are sharing it, the better. So reviewers who are always looking for the application, they will always look at your article and try to see how many people did view your article. If it has more likes and maybe comments, it says a lot, it says a lot about it, right? The principle is not complicated. Don't try. You have to, now that we know the application process, which focus on content, one makes good content. One makes good content, right? As I'm going, if you have questions, just drop them on the chat. I'll be able to come back to that, right? So one makes good content. Start simple. Don't try to explain advanced architectures right from day one. Just start very simple with what you are comfortable with. Let your article have a clear step-by-step solution, right? Be able to, you yourself, you can look at it and say it's clear step-by-step, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then until you come to the final step and a conclusion, right? And if you are doubting, that's why we have the community. You can then always post for us to review, or you can reach out to me one-on-one. I can look at it and then make any suggestions. Where important, provide commands, code, or screenshots or links that people can go and look into. Always keep in mind that screenshots are always very helpful, right? Someone can be reading something, but maybe trying to implement what you have shared and they are struggling. But if you have screenshots with maybe circles focusing on particular sections of what you are doing, people can easily relate. It should also be short. Don't make it too lengthy. If you are making an article, it should be short, straight to the point for the beginning. Again, we are starting simple. If it's a video, maybe you create some content to describe what the issue is, 3-4 slides to talk about what you are going to do, get into a console, and then just do that, right? Explain why, not just how. Okay, yes, you've shown how it's done, but maybe also go ahead and explain why it has to be done that particular way. Remember, you are helping others to grow. Don't assume at times. Always just imagine that you are kind of like teaching a child to walk. So you are trying to think to really help that person make baby steps. If you are just starting, right, there will be a time that you will make it that much more stronger. Then you can also ask people maybe at the end to provide feedback if they have read your article, what they think, improvements, or share experiences, because again, it's a community, and the community grows when the entire members of that community support one another. Okay, so that's what you should reflect on when it comes to one makes good content, and some principles that you should keep in mind. Now, starting is where most people struggle, and this is where your niche is important, right? So what is it that excites you? How do you pick a topic? So this way you focus to yourself. Start with what excites you. Is it serverless? Is it security? Is it infrastructure as code? AI and ML, right? The AI and ML category was created last year in the communities builder. So when applying, you can indicate that you want to be part of it. Cost optimization, exam tips. Focus, if you are in AWS, there must be something that you have seen or that you feel comfortable with. That will be the area that will be easy for you to create articles. It will be easy for you to create a video. Right, so start with something that excites you. Then find an angle. Do you want to do just a beginner's guide, or is there troubleshooting you want to talk about, or how you did something, a case study, or a demo lab? Notice a demo lab, and I will talk here about a demo lab. I don't know how many of you use AWS workshops, awsworkshops.com, but there are different types of labs there. You can just go and look into one of those labs, take your time, work on it, and then try to also explain to someone. Maybe do that lab and record yourself, right? Explaining what you are doing, because you can't do a lab just being quiet. That's if you have someone who is very comfortable about speaking. You can just say, okay, I'm going to show how to create a VPC with private and public subnets. And then as you go along, you show how to do all of that step by step, and such that if someone was watching, they can be able to do it as well, right? So you have to be very, very clear if you are doing a video. But if you can't do that, then you take time and do it as well, and then make screenshots and create an article of it, what you did, right? Stating step 1, step 2, step 3, and adding. If you are looking at the lab, you can look at it, and then as you are doing it, you add other things, and maybe some steps that are not in that lab. Like when I'm always working with VPC, I always like to go and look at the visual representation of how it looks like. In most of the labs, you hardly see that, right? You can then, that's something additional that you can do that doesn't change the structure of the lab, but that you present, that someone can look like and identify with. Yeah. So think about, what problems do you solve? If you are working, what problems do you solve? Maybe at work, what you could do. Maybe something that you are that really excites you. That's the key thing. That's where you should really start, especially from the beginning. Avoid test and publish small piece. Did people engage? So when you are doing it, if it is something completely new, make sure that you test and ensure that it's working, right? Don't if it's something that's sophisticated, then make sure that it works before you publish it. Avoid copying, right? So just doesn't just go out there, look for someone's article and then just replicate it. Yeah, I'll talk about that under the ethics, but do avoid copying. Many people can look at the same lab and do it differently. So try to focus on how do you do it and how you present it. Static tutorial. So examples of how it can look like. I've talked about static tutorial, how I launch a static site, not a static site on Lightsail. That was supposed to be on S3, right? You can talk about how you launch a static website on S3. That's an example of a tutorial I can do. Hands-on demo, deploy a WordPress site on Lightsail in maybe 15 minutes. So you could, Lightsail is a service that you can use mainly if you want to do website hosting. You can go and look at that and see how you can start from scratch and set that up in 15 minutes. This could be a 5-minute video talking about it, or you make screenshots. Or for those of you who are interested in AI, ML, you can look at Amazon Bedrock and talk about what it does in 3-minute video demo. So for example, like I said, you could create like 2-3 slides to talk about what Amazon Bedrock is, right? You may start talking about right from the bottom infrastructure of AI in AWS. So you could talk about the large language models right at the bottom and show where Amazon Bedrock is sitting in this entire, from infrastructure right to the managed service. So you may have 1 or 2 slides just to address the service Amazon Bedrock, and then go ahead to show how you can use it for a particular case. for the case that you have interest on. So you take a service. So many people are wondering what's Amazon Bedrock, and you just break it down for them. I've talked about creating a VPC with public and private subnets, right? So if you are doing a light sale WordPress, so you have a title, you give an introduction, problem, outcome, the steps with screenshots, troubleshooting, common errors and fixes. That's also another nice area. Um, there are always some things that maybe always fail, but if you can figure out some common errors and or fixes that you have, you can talk about that. Conclusion and next steps, and call for action, for you ask people to comment or repost or share. And then also cross-pollinate. If you post this on Medium, you can post this on LinkedIn. If you make a video about it, that's great. Even you have an article where people can read and follow step by step. And then they also have a YouTube video that they can look up to. All right. Are we all together? Give me thumbs up if we are following. Just checking that no one has left yet. Okay. Thank you all. I see all of you giving me thumbs up, so I'm glad to know you are still catching up. So once you have all of that, the next thing now, you have your articles. What AWS is always looking for is the views, the likes, the shares, and the comments, the people that are following you, the article read time and completion rates at times, if that is okay. So that's quantitative metrics. Qualitative could be thoughtful comments. And then if you have a tutorial that maybe you created from scratch, if people are implementing it or is being referenced by other creators, like they came across your article, or if you're invited to speak somewhere, it says a lot about what you are doing to the community. Apart from being community builders, I'm sure maybe you have heard about AWS heroes as well. There's what you also call AWS community heroes. Those are people also who have created that they have brought so much impact to the AWS community, and they are considered as heroes. And there are also special events that they benefit a lot just from being that, right? I was already talking about the do's and don'ts. So for the do, be clear, it should be reproducible, honest, and you should be consistent. Don't post low effort copied content. Don't hide metrics or overpromise. Ask for feedback and iterate, right? So if you are doing, just ask for people to give you feedback and then you repeat again. Treat this not as a one-off. The program is always a continuous one. Community builder never stops building. We are always doing something for the community. That's why if you get in for the first year, by the second year, you need to prove again that you are doing something. And it's always two links to articles. So you have a whole year to provide 2 links. Yeah, so it's a continuous process too. You have to do that to get into the second year. And then you have to do that to get to the 3rd year. And as you keep growing, that's how what you get as benefits also change being in that community. I already talked about being honest. Don't just copy someone's work. Be careful when sharing information. Don't get your account details out. Don't think of licensing. If it's code you have had from somewhere, check to ensure that is it open source, then you reference it. Make sure you cite sources if you have used them, because there's nothing wrong. All of us, everything is out there, but it's in AWS. None of us here created that platform, so you definitely must have read it somewhere, or if you have read it from an article, quote the article, right? So that's the key thing in regards to quality analytics. So just to like key takeaways before maybe I take your questions. Community builder is a content creator for the community. Start where you are with what you know, what you are comfortable with. Be consistent and be authentic. That will beat perfection. Don't try to be so perfect. Just be yourself, right? If it works and that's what you can do, post it. If someone sees something wrong in it, they will comment, and that's how you will build. So again, don't think so much about being perfect. Document everything you are learning. That could help you become one of your articles. So help others succeed. Success will follow you as well. And the application is always the beginning. Real value comes from the impact to the community. And as I've said, networking to me is what stands out, because the kind of people you get to connect with, the kind of things they tell you, some of it, if you even went out to pay, you will not even find someone to show you that. So, with that, I would say that's really what I have for the AWS Community Builder for this session. So I'll stop here. And if there are questions or maybe questions, comments before we move to the last closing part, that would be great. Thank you, Gloria. I see some hands clapping, and then I see a hand up there from Violet. Thank you, Ridwan. Yes, go ahead, Violet. Comment or question. Welcome.
Thank you so much. This is really an eye opener. Yes, of course, the community builder to get in. I've been researching. I went on dev.to. Somebody had written an article. She too had
Mhm.
yeah, but yours is very explanatory. I really got to understand a whole lot on what it takes to be a community builder.
Great.
Okay. So, of course, before you become a community builder, there's the why that you want to be a community builder. So, why I wanted to be a community builder was because of my dream that I put on the page on the Pennytech Toy Labs, some startup that I'm trying to do. And you were saying that we should concentrate on, like, we should pick something we are interested in or we like and talk about it, whether it be serverless or security. But then I don't know if it is possible, or I need your advice on this. So I am building a startup and I want to share my journey because I don't think I can just concentrate on one area. So it's a way of me learning. So today I am on security. Fine. If I'm building something on a serverless with but it's the product is tailored. I'm going to use it for my business, which is Purple Penny Tech. Is it okay if today I build the thing, I do the project, and then I talk on serverless maybe this week, then the next week I talk on security, the other week I talk about maybe probably I use a, a database system,
Data. Yeah.
yeah, a database management system to build a something for my startup. Is it okay, or I just have to concentrate on one thing?
Okay. No,
Yeah.
good question. Thank you for the comment and a good question. Definitely, you are free to talk on many topics, right? So my reason for picking people to identify their niche was like when you say some people should create content, the first thing is they're just thinking, where will I even start? Right? So among all the different topics that are out there, maybe there's one that you are very comfortable with to start with, right? So you can just write one article today. If you think the security is very easy for you, you can easily create content. Go ahead and create that one. And then next week, you can switch to maybe talk about data or AI, right? You can create articles on different topics. It must not just be one area.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. Good. Nice. Any other question, comment? Again, it's community builder. It means talking, not being shy. I'm happy Violet came up straight on. So, and I'm sure with time we'll learn much about your startup as well. It'll be nice to know what that's all about. But, um, right. So one thing I can also say is there are different categories in the AWS community builder. Some people get worried during the application. There are different categories, but it's never if you get into at times when you're applying, they'll ask you, do you want to go to networking, serverless, or security? As I mentioned, machine learning and AI was created. pick the one or the topic that you have interest on, because once you get into the AWS Community Builder, you have access to all the other categories as well. For example, when I was applying, I did indicate that I wanted to get into the networking category. I was accepted in the security category, but I have access to storage, compute, uh, all the categories that exist. And these different categories, they have their own channels where they have their own sessions or the things they talk about. Or if something is coming up in AWS in a particular topic, they will post it there. And if you apply to be part of maybe the testing or to, you are moved on. So they just, so those categories don't always matter. You just pick the one that you are interested in. And if you are put in a different one, it still doesn't cancel that you have access to the other ones. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's why I was pushing that. So, like, but answering your question back, Violet. So, if you are doing an article on serverless, you can still do that. Do one on networking. You can do one on security. You'll still be absolutely fine.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. Good. So, Um, I don't see much questions coming. Um, so I'm going to. So what would be the next? Yeah, go ahead, Violet, if you have another question.
I'm sorry if this is not about the AWS Community Builder. Sorry to divert, but it's on the grant, the ABW grant.
Right.
And you told me if I probably have to schedule a meeting one on one, or I don't know if it also can be discussed there.
We'll talk about that one-on-one. That's fine. Then
Okay,
we'll upon on this. Then yeah, but we'll definitely talk about that. Yeah.
okay, okay.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Right. So without much questions, what I'm just going to talk about is next steps and support. Everyone here, I think it's already good with you have completed week one on this, as I mentioned on the Discord channel. Share your LinkedIn profile so that we should follow you. Some of you are already doing that. If you haven't, just do that. As I mentioned, we'll follow you. Your Medium profile that you have created, if you have your YouTube, just share that. And what I'll be encouraging is everyone then goes and subscribe. And then if you have articles, we need to support one another. We go out, look for those articles, try to read. If we see something that we can correct, we correct. If we have a comment to leave, we leave a comment, right? Those are important metrics. Um, Start to align your first content piece, right? Think how your content will be. I was thinking that there were going to be many people, and then maybe I'll break out for groups or like have people in different groups, but it's just us here, so I think it's okay. I'll leave it here as it is. So just think of what is it that is exciting you with AWS. When I'm as I explain, is just to help you get started so that you don't overthink. Think of a lab you have done in that area that you feel so comfortable. That could be your first article that you put as a target to create next week if you haven't, right? That first article, you may not necessarily use it for your application, but it gives you that feeling or that start that, okay, you can really do it. Then after that, you build on the second article. And by the time we're coming to end of October, you should have had three articles that maybe two of them will be solid enough for your application. I'm sure they will not change to change. There are always two since I started. They have always asked for two links. So we'll provide mentor. I'll be here. If you have an article and you are worried about the quality, just reach out to me. There are other WirfonCloud members who are also AWS community builder. I'll see if they can also help, but I will always reach out to me if there's a question you have. I'll try to see what I can do. If you are worried that you want this article to be looked into before you post it, right? And as I've said, let's follow each person on LinkedIn. Let's read articles and comment. So that's what you people should be thinking going to week 2. I think after 2 weeks from today, depending on how we are making progress, I could make another session so that we just come and chat and see where we're going for. So that's the next steps, what to follow. Yeah. And with that, I think with no questions, that will be the end of my presentation. You want to have a question? Go ahead, Violet. Yeah. Ready to provide your contact. Can we connect on LinkedIn, or here is my contact? I would like that we have this conversation after. You need to do that and then take notes and then actually make a connection or write to talk to appreciate and then indicate that you will get back. So that's what I would suggest. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
very much.
welcome. Great. Okay, so that was it about what I had for this evening, and I think I want to thank all of you for being here, and I'll share the slides, and if there is any on the recording as well, if there is something that you need, then just reach out to me. Okay. So wishing you all a great weekend, and see you on our Discord channel. Thank you. Bye bye all.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
bye.
Thank you. You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much. Bye.